Okay, so we started with Frank's line, we went down 2, and there's Henry's line. Okay, so we've talked about the first section of that reference paper. Translations. We learned how to translate up or down, left or right. It's all a matter of adding or subtracting a number and finding if the number is in or out of the parentheses, right? Now let's do some other ones. We are going to stay here on this paper because they don't give examples on this paper. So we're going to use these grids. I'm going to come up with some new equations though. No, you don't have to erase it. Just kind of follow along. Okay, because you're going to have some practice in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to make up some new equations. Frank will still be x plus 1. But I'm going to make new ones for these guys. Okay, so I'm going to regraph y equals x plus 1. Here's my 1 and then my slope. We're going to do 2 other lines. Okay, so here's Frank's equation. F of x equals x plus 1. Here's Frank's graph. George's equation. George's equation is just like Frank's, except for what? Yeah. George's equation is just like Frank's, which is this, except there is a 2. It's not being added or subtracted this time. What is it doing? It's multiplied. Is the 2 in or out of parentheses? That's all you need to know. So George's is just like Frank's, except for there's a 2 being multiplied and it's out of parentheses. We go to our chart. We take a look at the multiply by number section in the middle. Outside parentheses is the bottom option. It's going to change the slope and it's going to rotate about the x-intercept. That sounds hard, but all it means is it's going to spin, but the pivot point is the x-intercept. It's going to be like this. And it's going to be like this. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. So, about the x-intercept. Now, you guys did learn previously about how m affects your line. I'm going to remind you of that. Because basically, we're affecting the slope, the m number. What you need to remember is, if m gets bigger, the line gets steeper. If m gets smaller, the line gets flatter, right? That's what we learned. But now we're learning a little bit more about the m could be inside parentheses or outside parentheses, and that tells us something a little bit different. Since it is outside parentheses, here is how the line pivots. So here is George's line. It's just like Frank's line, except it's going to rotate. There's 2 places where it could rotate. On the x-intercept, it could spin like this, where I nail this to the board on the x point, and it spins like that. That is how George's changes. It rotates about the x-intercept. Okay? And since it got bigger, it's going to get steeper. Make sense? Now, if I rewrote that 2 and I put it inside the parentheses, it would still get steeper. But I would be nailing it here on the y-intercept instead. Very small change, but it does change the line. And it still gets steeper, but this point stays the same. Does that make sense? All you really have to remember is what's on the paper. It either rotates about the x-intercept, that's if the number's outside, or if it's inside, it rotates about the y-intercept. Okay? And since it got bigger, because it was 1 and now it's 2, it got steeper. If that had been like 1/2 or something smaller, it would have gotten flatter. Okay? How's that? It's a little more, but it's more doable, right? Okay, so that is, let's go ahead and make George's line. I'm just going to guesstimate. Actually, you don't even have to graph these. You just have to recognize what happens. Here's George's line. It's going to get steeper. Just like that. Okay? If we had Henry's line, it could still be a 2. Just like I said. However, what if the 2 is inside the parentheses like this? Same number, but now it's inside the parentheses. Henry's line is still going to be steep just like that, but it's going to change right here. The slope is still 2 now, but now it starts here instead of here. Now this is a little more detailed than what's going to be required of you. All you need to know is, does it rotate about the x or the y-axis, and does it get steeper or flatter? That's it. Okay? Yes?
On this board, like, what if there's no numbers, it's just like negative x?
That's what we're going to do next. I'm glad you asked. Okay, are we good with the rotation? So the translations we did, up, down, right or left. Rotations, it's just going to get steeper or flatter. And where the number is, in or out of parentheses, tells you how it spins based on the x or the y intercept. The last section covers the negative signs. Okay, that's reflections. So let me think. I think we have... No, I'm going to use this grid right here. Okay, I'm going to use this grid right here, and I'm going to start with Frank's line again. So I'm going to start with this one. Let's see. Frank's equation here is negative x plus 1. All right, so I'm going to graph that again. Slope is negative 1. Y-intercept is 1. There is Frank's graph. Okay, now we're going to talk about what happens when you throw another negative sign on there. For example, and I'm ignoring these, George's equation is the same thing as Frank's, except I'm going to put a negative sign. And I can put the negative sign here on the outside of parentheses or here on the inside. Let's see what happens when I put it on the outside. Okay? I need a volunteer. Who wants to be... Actually, Miss Odom, why don't you be the reflection? Because I'll probably put on the video. All right, it's not going to work that well. Somebody come hold this. Will you come hold it? Okay, point it down so you can see our feet. Okay, I am me, but Miss Odom is my reflection. Okay, why don't you come over here where you can see it straight on this way. Yeah, you can pick it up. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so if this thing here is the mirror, okay, that's the mirror. I'm standing 1 square away from the mirror. So my reflection is 1 square inside the mirror. You with me? You guys look in the mirror, right? If I step back, my reflection steps back inside the mirror. So now I'm 2 squares away from the mirror, and my reflection is 2 squares inside the mirror. I can go back again, and the reflection goes back. That's how reflections work. And that's how you're going to graph these lines that seem so hard. You step up, and she steps up. We're 1 away. Okay? Thank you. So we're going to do reflections. It's all about finding the mirror, first of all. So we're going to find the mirror. This is me. This line is me. We have to find my reflection. How do you find the reflection if you don't know where the mirror is? So, George's equation has a negative sign in front of Frank's equation, not in parentheses. Go to your little reference paper. The bottom section is reflections. Negative sign outside parentheses. Where's the mirror? The x-axis is the mirror. You with me? Let's go back. And here's how you make your reflection. Here's the x-axis. This is how you do it. So I'm going to put red across here, so we know this is the mirror. And here's what I do. Wherever I find a point on the line, I face the mirror. Let me find green. Okay, so say I'm here. My reflection, I'm looking in the mirror, my reflection is down 1. If I'm up above the mirror, my reflection is down 1 into the mirror. If I'm up 2 above the mirror, my reflection is down 2 inside the mirror. If I'm up 4 away from the mirror, my reflection is down 4 away from the mirror. If you do it one point at a time, you're making your line. But notice what happens. This is what happens in math. Now I'm standing on this side of the mirror. This is still the mirror, but now I'm standing on this side. If I'm 1 below, the reflection is 1 above. 2 below, reflection is 2 above. 3 below, 3 above, and so on. That is how you get the reflection. Does it make sense? If you know where the mirror is, each point is you looking at the mirror to find the reflection. Notice, it would be totally different if the mirror was the y-axis. So we're going to make the Henry equation the y-axis equation. Let's use this. Okay. So I'm going to go, Henry's equation is just like Frank's, except this time I'm putting the negative inside with the x. So I'm looking at the black one again, that's Frank's. It's just like Frank's, except I have a negative sign inside the parentheses. So I go to my chart. The negative signs are down here on the bottom. Reflections. Inside the parentheses, now the y-axis is the mirror. Okay? So I go back. Here's my mirror. I'm erasing this. Now the mirror is this. All right. So here's Frank's equation. Here's me looking in the mirror. Here's my reflection. Here's me. Here's me 2 on the other side. Here's me. Here's my reflection 3 on the other side. And so on and so on. Here's me 2 to the right. My reflection is 2 to the left. 3 to the right. My reflection is 3 to the left. Here is Henry's line. Does it make sense? It is a lot of steps. I won't lie to you about that. But it's very straightforward because what you have to do is, don't lose this paper. This walks you through everything. Okay? You marked up your paper with your colors and your notes. Take a picture of it in case it gets lost. Okay? Back up your photos on iCloud or something, right? Keep this. You can use it anytime we have these questions. All right. It walks you through, and we're going to go through some examples now of what it looks like. And these examples will go fast and easy because we're not even graphing. We're just looking at it, finding the number that's being added, looking at the chart, and that will tell us what to do. Okay, we did reflections already. We already did reflections. You don't have to do that. Okay, here we are. I want you to go look through all these. Which ones are reflections? Have a reflection involved. What do you look for? You look for a negative sign. So I go through here and look. Oh, look, number 3. George's equation is the same as Frank's, except there's a negative sign. So that has a reflection. I don't even know the details. I'm just going to write reflection so far. Okay, how about this one? No negative sign. How about that one?
Number 7.
Yes, number 7 has some type of reflection. Number 6 has some type of reflection.
9.
And number 9, you're correct. Now listen, guys, sometimes that's all they're going to ask you. And if you know that much, you'll get those right, okay? Now we can go a little more detailed and look at our chart. Because if you notice, number 3, the negative is on the outside. Number 6, it's on the outside.